This is 6 Minutes, the Seriously International Daily Newscast. It's Monday, March 31st. I'm Emma Albright.
And I'm Jacob Shropshire. The sun is setting over Western Australia while it's just coming up over Eastern Brazil. In Munich and here in the World Crunch newsroom in Paris, it's just after midday. Here's what we're covering today. Netanyahu defies Israel's high court to name a new domestic security chief. The Southeast Asia earthquake death toll continues to rise. Our More Than a Minute feature is on prisons in El Salvador, and our daily quiz question comes from a tennis tournament in Miami. In our top story, a French court Monday found far-right leader Marine Le Pen guilty of misappropriating European Union funds and banned her from running for office with immediate effect. Although the length of the sentence is as of yet unclear, a 5-year ban was sought. If confirmed, this means that Le Pen would not be allowed to run in the 2027 presidential race, upending politics in France, where she's been seen as a frontrunner in opinion polls. 8 other current or former members of Le Pen's National Rally Party were also convicted in the case. In the US, President Donald Trump said he is, quote, very angry, pissed off with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin over recent comments about Ukraine's President Zelensky. Trump threatened to impose secondary tariffs of 25 to 50% on buyers of Russian oil if he feels Moscow is blocking his efforts to end the war in Ukraine. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu named former Navy Commander Eli Sharvet to be the next head of the Domestic Security Agency. Monday's announcement comes despite Israel's High Court freezing the dismissal of incumbent Ronen Bar. Netanyahu had fired Bar on March 21st due to an, quote, ongoing lack of trust following the October 7th Hamas attacks. Meanwhile, the Red Cross Federation condemned the death of 8 medics killed on duty in Rafah in southern Gaza. Taking a look at newspaper front pages today, we turn to Thai-language Bangkok-based daily news, focused on the continuing search in Thailand for survivors of Friday's massive earthquake. Neighboring Myanmar has declared a week of national mourning, with the death toll from Friday's powerful earthquake surpassing 1,700. In Bangkok, emergency crews are working to free 75 missing workers trapped under the rubble of an under-construction skyscraper that collapsed as thousands have been evacuated from cracked buildings in Thailand's capital city on Monday. In financial news, gold hit a record high this morning, on track for its biggest quarterly gain in over 38 years, valued at $3,128.06 an ounce. Gold's appeal to investors is linked to concerns over Donald Trump's tariff plans, widening the global trade war and triggering an economic slowdown. Trump has promised to unveil a massive tariff plan on Wednesday, which he has dubbed Liberation Day. Now it's time for today's More Than a Minute feature, where we're looking at growing human rights concerns in El Salvador's prisons, especially for female inmates.
In mid-March, the Trump administration began flying hundreds of Venezuelan immigrants alleged to be gang members to El Salvador. The Central American country is led by President Nayib Bukele, who has risen to power on a mandate of cracking down on crime and has quickly become a reliable ally to the Trump administration. Human rights groups have warned that El Salvador's prisons are marked by overcrowding, lack of access to basic services, and other abuses.
But we're learning that the situation is even worse for women. El Espectador's journalist Luisa Lara recently wrote about this already vulnerable sector of the population. Emma, tell us what she found.
Lara reports alleged human rights abuses include lack of running water, food, and medical attention, alongside complaints about torture, sexual violence, and other abuse, which have turned El Salvador's prisons into extremely precarious spaces. Family visits were suspended in 2020. Experts say this has a greater impact on female inmates, who are also threatened in terms of sexual, reproductive, and menstrual health rights.
What kinds of threats do female inmates face?
Advocates say there have been reports of pregnant women who have been transferred without explanation and, upon their return, have lost their babies. The situation is paradoxical, as abortion is completely criminalized in El Salvador and the penalties are severe. Yet there have been no investigations into these spontaneous abortions taking place in prisons. Local NGOs also point out that women are effectively deprived of menstrual hygiene products. With the suspension of family visits, many inmates are left without basic supplies, relying exclusively on what the prison system provides, which in many cases is non-existent. With the Trump administration continuing to deport migrants, Nisha Gelman and Sarah C. Bishop from the website The Conversation report that evidence about prison conditions in the Central American country offer a clear conclusion. Quote, El Salvador does not meet the terms necessary to protect the human rights of deported and incarcerated migrants.
We're closing things out today with our daily quiz question, which comes to us from a tennis match in Miami. Czech player Jakub Menšík won the Miami Open by defeating 24-time Grand Slam winner Novak Djokovic. What record did the game break? Is it A, the biggest age gap between finalists? B, the most rackets broken? C, the longest tiebreak? Or D, the most humid match? The correct answer is A. At just 19 years old, Czech teenager Jakub Menšík beat his childhood idol Novak Djokovic to win the Miami Open, denying the Serb his 100th professional title. Sunday's final between the 37-year-old Djokovic and Menšík marked the biggest age gap difference in a Masters 1000 final and the biggest age gap of any tour level since 1976.
That's the latest from around the world. If you like this podcast, we'd really appreciate it if you could help us out with a follow, share, and a 5-star rating on your preferred podcasting platform. For more of the best of the international press, delivered exclusively in English, visit us at worldcrunch.com. We'll see you here tomorrow. À demain.